Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Throwaway Cow Life from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, Am I the arsehole for losing my 27 female cool with my parents, 57 female, 59 male, for pushing me to forgive my cheating ex? I was to be married in July. 2 months ago, I came home from a work trip to find my ex-fiancé in bed with my BFF's sister. I kicked him out, cancelled the wedding, warned him I would get rid of his stuff if he didn't come get it all. Then weeks later, dumped it all on the curbside with a free sign. Sold or donated or dumped everything he gave me and pawned the ring. I blocked him everywhere. Called the cops on him when he showed up, after I gave his stuff away, banging on my door. Called them again when he turned up at my workplace and made a scene, and then called him on his family when they showed up en masse to plead his case. I didn't go scorched earth on my ex-BFF sister. I didn't tell her husband I caught her in bed with my ex. Last I heard, she'd been kicked out of the house and was back living with her parents. Ex-BFF tried talking to me into giving them both a chance to explain. What? No. Then got angry at me for ruining her sister's relationship. Called me petty and cold-hearted. So I kicked her to the curb too. I don't want dishonest people that are blasé about betrayal in my life. This encounter no doubt simmered under my skin until I unleashed on my parents. Maybe that's the reason, because it lingered. I was so harsh with them. Last week, I met my parents for dinner. I took a date with me to the restaurant, hoping his being there would waylay any discussion about my failed engagement. My parents have been pressuring me to work things out with the ex. He's so sorry. I owe it to him to talk with him. Give him 5 minutes to explain himself. She meant nothing to him. He made a mistake. I'm cruel for shutting him out the way I have. How could I call the police on him? How could I do the same to his family, his parents? They're good people. They didn't deserve to be humiliated in that manner. He's having a rough time. He's depressed. Everybody is worried about him. He loves me, really loves me. He's learned his lesson. It's time to grow up and forgive him. No. My date's presence didn't stop them from bringing it all up again. I lost my cool, asked my father if he expected me to give my ex a pass every time he sticks his dick into anything that moves, like he does. I asked my mother how turning a blind eye to her husband's infidelity works for her. How does she hold her head up while having lunch with women that have slept around with her husband for years? Is that the kind of men, the life she wants for me and my sister, for her daughters? I asked if they had any idea of the impact that knowledge had on me and my siblings growing up, knowing that dad was late home from work because he was screwing his secretary, knowing work weekend was code for dirty weekend with a woman not our mother. Did they not know why it was that of their 4 children, I am the one that still talks to them? Did they not question why they were not invited to my brother's wedding? Why they have never met either of my brother's wives and children? Do they think my sister's silence is because she's being dramatic and throwing a tantrum? Really? I stood from the table, congratulated them on the loss of their last remaining child, and told them that I hoped their arrogance, willful blindness, and misery was a comfort to them to their last breaths. Then I left. My date, I should have saved him for a proper date rather than an FU to my parents, took me to the nearest bar. Let me cry on his shoulder while I proceeded to get shit-faced, then made sure I got home safely. The next day, he messaged me to see if I was alive and sent a double cheeseburger, large fries, and a large Sprite over with DoorDash. I didn't block my parents, but I haven't heard from them. It's been a week and I've calmed down enough to feel regret. Not for what I said, but because I can see the looks on their faces when I made my final farewell. I crushed them, hurt them, especially my mother. Despite their faults, and there are many, I love my parents. I don't like knowing I hurt them. I'm feeling a lot of guilt about it. Am I the arsehole? Edit. I've yet to read all the comments, but from what I've seen so far, I think some details need to be cleared up. My date knew we were going to have dinner with my parents. He asked me out that morning. I told him my plans for the evening and jokingly asked if he wanted to come along. I didn't expect him to say yes. I then informed him that I wasn't serious, and anyway, it would probably be a little uncomfortable. And he said if needed, he could post bail. So there you go. He did not enter that restaurant unaware of potential drama. Edit 2. The people mentioned in my post are not the only people in my life. I have my siblings in my life. They didn't cut me off. My sister flew in to be with me just days after I discovered the cheating. And I have good friends. Friends who helped me pack up X's things. Helped me to move it all down to the curb. A friend that found me a guy that paid a fair price for the engagement ring. I only mention X, ex-BFF, etc. because how they acted and what they were saying contributed to all those buried feelings that had been dormant for years coming out when they did. In the way they did. Meh, I wouldn't feel guilty for your parents after this one. They met trying to get you back together with your ex who cheated on you. Family member came up to me and told me that they've been cheated on in that way, etc. I'll be like, yeah, cut that person out of your life. Do you want help packing shit up as well? But your new date sounds like a great guy, it's got to be said. I mean, obviously, always take it slow because it's fresh after cheating or all that kind of stuff. But holy moly, can you imagine being that guy in the restaurant on that date, just sat next to her and she's going off like this? I mean, oh, front row Dramaville. Then dude taking you to the bar afterwards, sending you a DoorDash the next day. What a bloody legend. Madge says something similar and says, well, the guy you're dating sounds like a gem. Hope he sticks around and it's not just a rebound for you. As for your parents, now they well and truly know exactly what you think. In the future, you can choose to forgive their behavior if they stop being jerks. And in the time you're not hearing from them, it may be because things are blowing up on their end. And your mother especially is thinking about her life without grandkids because of what else is happening in their lives. So don't take the silence as a problem. Gnomes in Blanket says not the arsehole, but your parents weren't crushed by what you said. It was the truth that they know is behind those words, that they thought everyone rug swept just because they did. They didn't care about your feelings, so you had to lay them all out on the table. They should have listened to you the first time around. Not your fault they sided with a cheater over their daughter and made her and her date uncomfortable. They lacked tact, so you threw the same energy back. Also, your new guy sounds like a green flag so far. Baobab says not the arsehole. I grew up in dysfunction, and reading that speech made me want to bow down to you. Parents really think they can do anything and live their lives without consequences. You have nothing to feel guilty for. You let a light shine on your parents, and now they know what you actually think of them, and that they can't enable your cheating ex into your good graces. If anything, I hope they're quiet because they've told your ex it's a lost cause, that you're now no longer in their lives, and they're so busy in self-reflection that they can't fathom contacting you. And one more comment from Nancy who says not the arsehole, but maybe DoorDash an apology cookie cake to the date. He seems like he did excellent with the absolute disaster of a date. He's a good egg. Oh, I love it when people say good egg. Your parents suck. They owe you a sincere apology. I would only let them closer if they provide that unprompted. I doubt it since your siblings are no contact. It's a path you should seriously consider. Your ex, everyone should stay that way. You made the right choice and your ex-fiancé is beyond stupid. Sleeping with someone in your shared home is not a mistake. Next, get a therapist. Deal with your anger and losses. It will help. Also, I'm embarrassed to say I've never seen a cookie cake in real life. I'm sure they're around the UK, but I've never seen one. But anyway, OP updated their post and said, it's been a minute since I was last here. Life has been busy, work has been busy, and updating Reddit wasn't on my mind. Apologies to all those that continue to send messages asking for an update. I figure better late than never. A quick recap. Lost my temper with my parents when they tried to push me to forgive and reconcile with my cheating ex. Some really hurtful and harsh truth was shared by me to them in the moment. Afterwards, I felt tremendous guilt. The regret started to eat at me. Where to start? First, a thank you to all who replied to my post. I tried to read every comment, and though I didn't post for validation most of you gave, receiving it did lighten the load a little bit. It didn't take away from the guilt I carried, but I was able to work through that to see that although my timing was off, what I said was absolutely necessary. Thank you too to some of those who sent me private messages rather than posting on the main thread. Having your own stories of similar upbringings conversing with you has helped me to understand that my childhood and teens were traumatic, that those left wounds that I'd never addressed until this all came about. One more shout out to those that sent harassing messages about my choices. Those people that preached about the sanctity of marriage and how men are basic creatures with basic needs. Those that attempted to school me in how to be a woman that needs to learn to do my duty by allowing a man his vices, and that it was really my fault for not supporting my ex in his time of need. Special shout out to the men that offered to teach me how to be submissive and learn my place in the world. And last but not least, the sweet little chicken nugget that told me my reaction was proof that I'm a serial cheater and my ex should have used a cattle prod on my happy place. It must have been tough for all of you when your women left. Big props to those ladies for escaping a life of misery with you. Man, some people are fucked up, aren't they? Gee whiz. Now for what has happened since. My mother left my father not long after my post, maybe a couple of weeks after. She showed up at my apartment one night with her luggage. I can't explain how broken and pitiful she was. I brought her inside, held her, and my heart broke for her. I realized then that she had no one she could turn to. Absolutely no one. No family, no friends. I cannot help but wonder if she had been all alone for all the years of her marriage, and if me or one of my siblings had said something sooner. Would she have had the courage to leave my father then? I'd never seen my mother, usually so dignified and unruffled, look so broken. It shocked me to see her that way. It worried me so much that I made her sleep in my bed with me. I called my siblings, and within days they all came to show support and love. Then it was me, my mother, and my sister sleeping in my bed. It was good for her to see that her children still cared, because we did care. We did love her. It was the situation my siblings distanced themselves from. At first, my mother stayed with me. She was having a hard time of it. Years of humiliation, shame, and guilt ate at her. I was worried about her state of mind and didn't like to leave her alone. I couldn't take time off work to be with her every second of the day, so I took her to the shelter and we got her a dog. My thinking was if she had something to take care of, it would distract her from dark thoughts. I was hoping for a puppy because they're playful and would keep her busy. But she fell in love with a 5-year-old mixed breed, and he fell right back. He's a goof. We don't know how it happened, but we woke up one night to him howling because he had somehow wedged his head in between the spindles on the stairs. His whole head. We had to call the fire department to rescue him. Of course, my mother didn't think he was at fault, and now she refers to him as her baby. He adores my mother though. My oldest brother moved some things around, then moved her across the country to live with him and his family. He thought she would do better if there was no chance of her running into dad or one of his many women. He found her a therapist, and that seems to be working. She is loving being a grandmother, and all reports are that she is an indulgent one. She has a separate in-law suite so she gets to see them every day. My brother tells me that when the kids go missing, they can now be found at grandma's. My dad is my dad. He doesn't lack for company. I had a dinner with him not long after my mother moved across the country, where he introduced me to the new women in his life. I reminded them both that I knew exactly who she was, considering she called my mother her best friend for all my life. Cue another awkward dinner. My dad tried to make it as pleasant as he could, but whenever she spoke to me, I would bring up a memory from my childhood of her spending time with our family, and asking if she was sleeping with my father all the way back then. The next day he called me to tell me how disappointed he was with me. I felt it only fair to share my own disappointments. We argued for a bit. He tried to downplay all he had done over the years, tried to play the victim of his own actions. I ended up cutting the conversation short and blocking him. It was just over a month ago when he showed up at my door. I wouldn't let him in, and I'm sure that rattled him some. He told me he didn't want to lose me too. Say what you want about him, but he is my dad. I love him. I don't want to lose him either. He promised he wouldn't force me to interact with any of his women. So far, we've had a couple of pleasant outings that have gone well so far. I'm cautiously hopeful that we can continue to be in each other's lives. As for me, well, I took that advice some of you gave me and I am in therapy. It is humbling to come to the realization that though you may think that you are fine, you are actually not. It has been almost unbearable to face all that history and excruciatingly painful to dig through it all. At the end of some sessions, all I want to do is head to the nearest bar and drink until I forget about all what I just went through to find out where it all started and why I am the way I am. I think therapy is one of the most difficult things I've ever done. I don't know how some of you have been doing this for as long as you have. I also don't know why you do it so willingly. I'm a crazy nutter for listening to all you nutters in the first place, but it is helping. Now for the update most of you want. I cannot even tell you how many messages I continue to receive from people wanting to know about him. It was almost like you were all saying, "Girl, we don't care about whatever life crisis you're going through, just tell us about the date." Well, I haven't replied to any of these queries because my post wasn't about him. Now I figure in a roundabout way, I owe you something because you all played a part in where we are today. I won't give a rundown of everything that has happened between us, but I will give you a few things. He contacted me after seeing a podcast on YouTube. He sent me a link with a query. Is this you? It would be an understatement to say I was mortified. My mortification kept me from replying to him. I was so deep in my embarrassment that I didn't even bother to read messages he sent me over the next couple of weeks. When I finally did read them, it was to find a whole heap of screenshots of people's comments. I'm going out on a limb by saying you don't need to tell me to tell you the contents of the comments he was sending me. I eventually got back to him. It was difficult for us to make time to see each other. As I stated earlier, my life, both personal, has been busy. He also has a life and work. We were only able to meet up for coffee a couple of times. I didn't think we were going to be able to grow a friendship, let alone anything beyond that. I've since learned that he is tenacious and persistent, like a dog with a bone. He kept at it until we found time to go on a second date. That date went well and led to another, then another. Then he introduced me to the two most important people in his life, his grandparents. His grandfather carves little wooden figurines and have since acquired a flock of wooden birds. His grandmother thinks I'm too skinny. She feeds me whenever I see her and usually sends me home with food. He gets along with my sister and brothers. He came to me to visit my mother on her birthday and met them all. He was very gracious with her. Had him saved in my phone as Cheeseburger. He took issue with that because he bought me a double cheeseburger. So I started calling him Double Cheese and then shortened that to DC. It's still saved in my phone as Cheeseburger. He's an undercover Swiftie, and I don't quite know what to do with that. I don't have anything against Taylor Swift, but I sure didn't pick him to love her. He did use little sister and niece as cover for his Taylor Swift love. Now he uses me. I'm fine with being so used. Damn, I love that nickname. Double Cheese. And I think that's a great update. I'm glad that your mum did reach out to you and you was able to reconnect in that way, and that she's doing better now. She was clearly deep in it. As for your dad, I know you said you're meeting him, but personally don't like the guy. but I don't have to see him, so I just always step back in these situations, and I think, if this guy can do this to his family and loved ones and continue to do it, yeah, he just sounds like an arsehole to me. A conscious survey said to the OP, this is an excellent update. DC is a keeper. I'm glad Mum realised the truth in what you said and set herself free, and now has all her children back. I'm glad things are going great for you now. Keep up the good work. Hugs to you for making through all that crap. Realistic Business says, I wish I had your courage to be as outspoken with your parents to my certain family members. It's good to hear that your mum left and is moving on. Your dad has slowly learned a valuable lesson on his infidelity. You're his last link to his children. You're cautiously hopeful, not optimistic to a relationship will keep him on his toes, so he doesn't lose you as well. If you and DC end up marrying, your first date will be great material to tell your kids. Whatever life takes you, continue to strive and be at peace. Being a Swiftie isn't that bad. Starry Dust says, this is a very satisfying update. Seems everyone is making progress and moving in the right direction, except your father. It didn't seem to bother him at all that his marriage to your mother ended. I mean, they had to have been married for over 30 years. I'm so happy to hear you're dating the cheeseburger. Hope things continue to go well with that. Was hoping to hear something about the cheating ex, like he's homeless and lost his job, lol. Opie says, he's not even a blip on my radar. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. This story is from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, Am I the Arsehole for getting upset with my roommate for eating my food without asking? So I, 23 female, live with a roommate, 22 female, and we've been living together for about 6 months. We never set clear rules about food, but we both kind of operate under the assumption that if you want something from the fridge, you ask first. It's been fine up until now. But lately, I started noticing that she's been eating my stuff without asking. For example, I bought a bag of chips last week, and by the next day, it was almost gone. She didn't ask, just helped herself. Then a few days ago, I made some pasta and had leftovers for lunch the next day. I came home to find that almost half of it was eaten. When I asked her about it, she said she was hungry and didn't think I'd mind. I wasn't mad at her being hungry, but I was frustrated that she didn't even ask or let me know. I talked to her about it and she got really defensive. She said I'm being too possessive over food and that I should just chill. She also said she didn't think it was a big deal and that I was overreacting. Honestly, I don't mind sharing, but I do mind when it's assumed I'll be okay with it without checking first. Now I feel like I'm being seen as petty, and she thinks I'm making a huge issue over something small. But I'm just frustrated because I feel like my boundaries aren't being respected. Am I the arsehole for getting upset about this? Hell no, you're not being too possessive like she's pointing out. She's stealing your food. It's as simple as that. I'm sure if you return the favor to her, she'd be equally as pissed off, probably more knowing her. And I've only known her for a minute and a half at this point. The absolute entitlement, but Cross Survivor says not the arsehole. She has decided she can save on food by eating yours, and she's arguing with you and trying to intimidate you into shutting up and letting her. Telling her she's not abiding by the rule of asking first, and that the two of you are going to have separate groceries, and if needs be, separate shelves, because you are not paying for her share of the groceries. She feels like that's petty. Too bad. The rest of us call it being an adult. Mrs. Papetto says, absolutely not the a-hole. It's just common courtesy to let someone know and/or ask. It's a big deal. Food is not cheap. It's good to set rules. That way it's clear and no one can get confused or upset when someone gets a little upset. You're not being selfish or petty in any way. Leftovers are, in my opinion, close to a personal possession. We make plans for our leftovers, not the a-hole. Food and boundaries with anyone you live with is important. Period. Do not feel bad and do not let her make you feel guilty. She knows that she's wrong, which is why she got defensive. She either needs to make it up to you somehow by buying you a bag of chips or making pasta for you and never cross that line again. That's exactly what I would do if I were her. I wouldn't do what she did in the first place, nor would I get defensive about it, but if I did, that's what I would do to show you I'm not a monster. So OP did update their post and says, hey again, just want to give a little update since a lot of you were asking what happened. First off, thank you to everyone who validated that I'm not in fact losing my mind over a bag of chips and some pasta. I really appreciated the support and the advice. So here's the thing. I realized while reading the comments that I wasn't crazy for expecting basic respect. I did make my boundaries clear from the beginning. Maybe not with a formal food treaty, but I've always asked before taking anything of hers. And I made it known early on that I expect the same. It's not rocket science. After the pasta incident, rest in peace, beloved lunch leftovers, I sat her down for a second talk. I explained again that it's not about the food, it's about respect. She doubled down, called me too intense about snacks, and implied I was being dramatic. So, in a brief moment of pettiness, I may or may not have labeled everything in the fridge with my name in big, bold Sharpie letters, including a single grape. Oh, that must have been difficult actually, just for the drama. Since then, things have cooled off a bit. We're not exactly besties right now, but she hasn't touched my stuff since. I even caught her buying her own snacks, which feels like progress. We'll see how long it lasts, but for now, I'm calling it a win. Anyway, thanks again for the support and for reminding me that standing up for your boundaries doesn't make you too much. And yes, the grape is still in the fridge. It's symbolic now. Absolutely good on you for standing up for yourself in this situation. You know, lots of people will say it's easy to do for them, and I totally get that, but for others, it can be difficult if, you know, you don't like that kind of confrontation, and it takes a while to learn that standing up for your boundaries doesn't make you too much, like OP said. But what do you guys make of this one? Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.